See if we can get y'all last into the building. Y'all come on in. Come in at the right time. There we go. There we go. Yo, good people. It's your homie HerbMan. But see you back inside of here with another hot bang of boogie. Please go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if you're new to the program, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe on all the platforms at Love HerbMan, especially for all of you guys that are really trying to learn exactly what we're putting out. You want to definitely go over there to YouTube and subscribe there, because we're coming live there as well, right? So you can go to YouTube or you can come to TikTok to watch the lives now, all right? So I am your neighborhood holistic practitioner. I'm your homie HerbMan. All we do is simply here, guys, to teach people how to heal themselves. Cannot heal yourself if you do not know thyself, right? So we teach you about the human frame and the human design so that you can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. Is your healing a possibility? Simply put, yes, okay? But you must understand that there is a program that you always have to go under in order to reach this particular enlightenment, in order to activate these particular type of abilities, even though sometimes we stumble upon them and we're able to do them ourselves. Today in particular, we want to talk about a lot of why the constellations and all this stuff and the owner's manual and all this stuff that we talk about, why it really is meaningful. Because in the ancient days, you guys, understanding the dynamics of nature gave you a good glimpse as to your own nature. As above, so below. The more you understood about the macrocosm, the more you was enlightened about the micro. Okay, so the more we start to learn about the planetary movements and the planetary involvement in our day-to-day habits, in our understandings of one another, in just our health, in our wealth opportunities, just in life in general, understanding the influence that planets, constellations, that the movement, that the universe has on us is a big deal. It don't just stop at religion. It goes beyond that into a whole different particular paradigm when you're looking at the influence that planetary movement has on the minds and the behavior, the animals, the plants, and the humans under which they rule. Okay? You guys need to know that, all right? So this is free information. This is the free information station. Only way you pay for this information is simply by paying attention. And how you pay attention is simply by tapping that screen. Let's get us up to 100K. Now share. Your job is to tap so you can be shared, all right? That's all we got to do. We can't spend every day just you hoarding this information. So you help me share this information to the world. Now this is what you're getting. The owner's manual for a measly little funky $50. This is what we're getting. A program. But more than the program. More than this, if you're interested in the owner's manual, please DM me and we'll get you the information that you need. But other than that, let's teach today. Okay, let's teach today. This is what you're going to get an understanding of when you get your owner's manual. But we're going to teach today. This is high tide, low tide. Okay, high tide, low tide. Right? Now, the ancient Egyptians and people of that nature saw the world in 3 seasons, right? So you had 4 months to each season pertaining to now. All right. And what you need to understand is harvesting was the best time of any year to ancient people. The harvest time was the best time of anybody's life during the ancient times. Let me repeat that one more time. They said I got 10 people that came in today that got a little hearing challenges. So we're gonna make sure we talk a little louder and repeat ourselves for them. In the ancient times, harvest season was the best time as far as being able to reap what land and man was able to formulate in a cohesiveness together. Okay. Harvest time was the best time. So now let's look at this. We're talking about high tide and low tide, right? That's all you had. You had high tide and low tide. High tide left behind fertile soil, what they call fertile silt. Now I know y'all seen the understanding of this particular thing, silt and soot. Okay, and I got receipts today, so we going now. It's one, all right. So if you keep tapping, I'll keep talking. So the flood leaves behind something that's called fertile silt. SILT. Somebody put that in the chat. Fertile silt. SILT. So when the flood came, the flood was welcome because it left behind a fertile silt. SILT. Okay. Fertile silt. There y'all go. Y'all with me. Okay. Now, that's when it was high tide. That's when it was high tide. Now you can consider this to be high tide anywhere. Now let me paint the picture for you. Okay, let me paint this picture for you. Make sure everybody got some light on. Let me paint this picture for you. All right. First of all, the equinoxes also bring high tide. The equinoxes bring high tide. Certain temperatures can bring high tide. Each month, you have 2 times of tide shifting, right? The new moon and the full moon. The full moon is going to raise the tides. The closer the moon is to the earth, the higher the tide. Let me repeat that now. I told you I got about 10 back. That was some hearing challenges. So the closer the moon gets to the earth, the higher the tide. The closer the earth gets to the sun, which is in the winter months. So this is your solstices, the higher the tide. So the solstices, the higher the tide, the equinoxes, the higher the tide. Temperature changes can create higher tide. But what we do know is 2 times a month, we get a change in the tide, the new moon and the full moon. Now, what I'm teaching you is financial literacy as well as health literacy, if you're following me, because I'm teaching you about nature. And if you can't get the underlying message to this, then it ain't your time. Decode what I'm saying, because I've already decoded it for you. Now you just got to decode me. If you're looking for financial literacy, how to play the stock market, how to do this, how to do that, when to invest, when to know this, when to know that, when to have opportune time, understand nature. The ancient people knew, so they welcomed the flood, the high tide, because the high tide would leave behind fertile silt. It's a residue that makes the ground dark, what they call black earth, right? It was a mixture of that being left behind. Let me give you a receipt. Keep tapping, you guys. I keep talking. I should have already been at 100K already. That's just how far this is, because y'all got to follow. Let's get it. Where is it? So silt. Silt is the fine sand, clay, or other material carried by running water and deposited as a sediment, especially in a channel or a harbor. It can become filled or blocked with silt. This residue left behind from the high tide, the flood of the Nile, and of different genres of people was a spiritual thing as well as a physical. They did rituals and they prayed for the flood to come. After the flood came, the flood would leave behind what is called fertile silt, something that they could utilize to start planting the seed. Now, when the flood came, this particular time was called, I'm gonna bring this back, you guys. All right, I'm gonna bring that back. Let's pause there for a minute. Okay, y'all follow me. Put some ones in the chat if y'all follow me. Put some ones in the chat if you guys are following me on YouTube over here. All right, put some ones in the chat if you guys are following me on YouTube. Put some ones in the chat if y'all are following me here on TikTok. Let's get it. Okay, so we know that 2 times a month we get a change and a fluctuation in tide. New moon is high tide. I'm sorry, full moon is high tide, new moon is low tide. Now, in the new moon, in the high tide is called so remember that the fall time is opposite in the southern hemisphere. So in the high tide from September to January. Okay? September to January. All right? So that's September, October, November, December, January. It's actually 4 months. September the 23rd is New Year's. March the 21st is New Year's on the northern hemisphere. On the southern hemisphere, September the 23rd is New Year's. It's when the equinoxes come together, the equal days and nights, the New Year. Okay, so this would be spring in the southern hemisphere. So from September to mid-January, January the 21st, that's 4 elements. Listen to me. Everything needed the 4 elements: the carbon, the oxygen, the nitrogen, and the hydrogen. They needed it, right? But look at this. Pisces would be water. I'm sorry, September the 21st, this would be Libra. I'm sorry. So you got Libra would be air, right? Scorpio is the water, all right? Sagittarius is my fire, and Capricorn is my earth. I have 4 elements to create the flood. And then, so that was called Aket. Okay? Aket. Ahket. It's called the first season, the flood, when it rains, the flood. Now, I'm teaching you about nature because I'm going to flip this into what you can do with it, okay? But they first got to understand nature to understand themselves. Aket. First 4 months, the flood, the high tide. So the high tide took over those 4 elements and then it created that, okay? Now, the flip side of this would be if this is in the southern hemisphere, you would then be in April. You would then be in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer, still creating the 4 elements. Aries is your fire, Taurus is your earth, Gemini is your air, and Cancer is your water. So we talk about the same thing, but just in different places, okay? So if you're in the northern hemisphere, this phenomenon starts for you March 21st to June 21st. If you're in the southern hemisphere, this phenomenon starts for you September the 23rd to January the 21st. You get what I'm saying? That's called Aket. Then after Aket came was something called Peret, P-E-R-E-T. Another 4-month cycle after the flood, because after the flood, I do want to state this, after the flood, during the high tide run all of this as far as a particular dynamic in life. Okay? The flood, you can only wait on the flood. You can't do nothing while it's flooded, right? So this is this time of rest and conserving energy, which is why we tell you about this particular part of life, right? This is the high tide, okay? And this can turn into a high tide and a low tide, but you got to know how to ride the wave. When it's a high tide, this is the prime time for you never ever to try to swim. Relaxation. Oh man, I'm trying to teach y'all something today. You got to know how to either take advantage of the fertile silt of the soot. Now we about to get there. You got to learn how to take advantage of either what nature leaves you as a result or what you leave yourself as a result of. And what you leave behind is soot because you're not completely dissolving the organic matter. What is organic matter? The stimuli of the environment, the space that you're in. You're not reacting properly, you're not responding properly. So you're creating soot. Now we're gonna go what the definition of soot is. So it's when I know the wave, I can ride the wave. During a high tide, you should rest, lay on your back, chill out. Don't try to fight against the current. During a low tide is when you can skedaddle somewhere. So during the high tide, you're gonna get 2 chances a month trying to figure this out. You're gonna get 2 chances a month. They're trying to figure this thing out according to the way it's going now. So during the new moon of a month is my resting cycle. I mean, during the full moon of a month, I'm sorry, is my resting cycle. During the new moon of a month, I can do 2 things. When the low tide came, this is when Peret came in. Peret came in, it was planting season. Okay, Peret, P-E-R-E-T. Peret was 4 months, so it was from January to May. Okay, from January the 21st to May 21st. Now watch this. It also needed 4 elements. January the 21st starts still in Capricorn, right? So that's a little bit of your earth element. Okay, then you get your air, Aquarius. You get your water, Pisces. Okay, and you get your fire, Aries, and you get your earth and Taurus. So even if you didn't count Capricorn, you're still getting 4. Aquarius, air, Pisces is water, Aries is fire. May 21st is a Taurus, right? It's in that Taurus, you're getting your earth. 4 elements to create Peret. And Peret is a time to where you're actually now, you got the flood happening, okay, from Libra to Capricorn. The flood. From Aquarius to Cancer. I mean, from Aquarius to Taurus, I'm sorry, is the planting season. So now we're talking about from basically, because this is the southern hemisphere, right? September the 23rd is the southern hemisphere. So we're talking about from late winter to spring, midsummer. Okay, because these are flip months and flip times. Okay, so fall would be their spring. In the southern hemisphere, you would be spring. In the northern hemisphere, you would be fall. So Aket is spring either way, but it's going to be fall in the southern hemisphere. But it's actually spring. When you go to the southern hemisphere, that would be springtime for people living under the equator. It's always happening in spring, whether it be in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere, if y'all get my drift. This is always going to happen in the spring. Aket is always happening in the spring. Okay? Peret is coming in for planting. And then last but not least is Shamu. Shemu. Shamu is a time of the harvest. So now, and this is when it comes on down to now that you got Taurus, and now you got Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. The 4 elements. Because Gemini would be the air, Cancer would be the water, Leo would be the fire, Virgo would be the earth, and require 4 elements for you to get the harvest. 4 times 4 times 4 is 12 months. So the ancient Egyptians understood that it was Aket, a flood. Then it was the planting, and then it was the harvest. Now, let's talk spiritual. Now let's talk spiritual now. So now we understand what that means, right? Anybody got any questions about that real quick? If you got any questions about that real quick, we'll go ahead and run over that. My YouTubers, my TikTokers, if you got any questions about what you're hearing so far, let's go through it. Because now we're trying to get down what seasons mean. Okay? So now we're going to equate the Aket over to thought. Okay, we're going to equate the I can't over to thought, right? There is no fourth one. There was the three. Remember, there were 4, 4, 4. 4 times 4 is 12, right? 4 plus 4, sorry, is 12. Right? So the Egyptians only had the three. Okay, I can't, Peret, Shemu. I can't is the flood. The flood leaves behind a fertile silt. Then they planted in that fertile silt for 4 months. Then they harvested from that fertile silt for 4 months. Okay, now understand that. So the understanding is that all was put in to create the dynamic, the 4 elements. It required everything. So now utilize I can't as thoughts. Thought is the flood of thoughts. Thought then creates feelings. Correct, then the feelings, the planting of the seed. The seed started in the thought, but then it got to get planted in the being to create the feeling. The feeling being correct now interchanges over to action. Action being the season of harvest, the result of thought and feeling. Now, when it comes to your body, the flood would represent thought. That represents the pituitary gland, which is your third eye. The flood is delusion. The root word of delusion is deluge. This is what you get in your owner's manual. Okay. The flood also could mean the reproductive organ. So now what I'm teaching you is about the four major chakras of the 7 chakras, but also the 4 major systems of the body, but also the 4 major areas of concern for the human experience. Right. Your third eye is your perspective, represented in the flood. Okay. Your ability to reproduce is in how you see things, how you learn, how you hear things, is how you reproduce it, how you put it back out there into the atmosphere. It's your stimuli. How you respond to stimuli is going to be your perspective, your third eye, your instinct, your basic instinct before you do something else, your fight or flight. Then we're talking about your reproductive system below. Not only did we just understand your reproductive system on high, now we're looking at the reproductive system below. Okay? This is going to be the guilt and unforgiveness. Another major emotion, another major body part, reproduction. Now, these are the 4 systems that has been attacked, but you don't understand. Okay? Because of this mixture that I'm telling you about. Then next is going to be correct. Okay? Next is going to be correct. All right? Now, understanding correct is understanding that this is going to require what? Some fire things. Some fire things. So now my pineal, okay? My attachment issue is this my nervous system. Okay? Because we're looking at the mind, thoughts, pineal. Okay? And then we got another one here, which is the digestive system, the fire, the self-control. So now self-control issues and attachment issues are the 4 dynamics in which is being suppressed. Now watch this. When you're looking at this, we just talked about the sacral and the solar plexus of the lower self and the third eye and the crown chakra of the higher self. The highest 2 levels out of the 3 before you get to the heart. When love and healing is your objective, the hardest levels to reach love and healing is going to be guilt and unforgiveness and self-control. That's when you're in your lower self. Some of y'all got higher self issues as well. The higher self issue is going to always be about your third eye, your perception, your belief system. and then your crown chakra, your attachment issues to those belief systems and to those systems in which you perform. Now, this is the nervous system. This is your nervous system. This is your endocrine system. This is your digestive system and your reproductive system. Those four systems are the things that are being attacked, because those four systems are what I just told you about: high tide and low tide. And they keep you away from knowing when to plant and to harvest, because you don't know when low tide is happening in your life. Now, I just told you when low tide is happening, when high tide is happening. New moon is high tide. New moon is low tide. Full moon is high tide. New moon is low tide. Full moon is high tide. You get 2 months to try this. This is financial literacy, as well as you trying to see how to manifest. Okay, you guys, I'm teaching you. This is how you do it. So during low tide, that is a planting and harvesting season. During high tide is the resting season. So when a full moon is coming into the month, that's time for you to rest. And when a new moon is coming into the month, it's time for you to plant the seed. But here's the thing. If you don't complete organic matter coming into the situation, then you're going to create what we call soot. Let's go. Let's get it. Pull it back up on her. Let's get this back in action. So this is the definition of soot. Deep black powder or flaky substance consisting largely of amorphous carbon produced by incomplete burning of organic matter. What is organic matter? Stimuli. The stimuli that's coming into your paradigm is all organic matter, because it's all making you have to make life decisions. So it's living, it's a living environment that you're living within. So it ain't like nothing is dead and you're the only thing alive in the environment. Everything is living around you. So everything is organic matter, which means everything matters organically. Now listen to my wordplay, because this is how you understand what I'm saying. Everything is information, which means everything is organic matter being absorbed into the space of the human experience, and you have to respond in some way. A non-response is a response to a stimuli. Saying nothing at all is a response to a stimuli. So doing nothing at all is still a response to stimuli. So that's why you have fight or flight. You can do nothing or do something, and it's still doing something. Right? So now we're understanding that a soot comes from incomplete burning of organic matter. What that means is that when you're eating foods, when you're eating information, when you are living, you could be creating soot instead of silt. You could be creating a mask, a cover up. Look at what that says. It's a cover or a claw. It's a cover, it's a mask, making you think that you are living in this paradigm in the right way, but you're creating soot with your life, because you are creating incomplete burning of organic matter. Energy. When you eat food, you are burning energy. You are incomplete burning of that energy. When you're downloading information, when you're learning in the brain's power, you're just forever burning, but you're not doing nothing with that information. You can be creating soot. It's an incomplete burning of organic matter. You're supposed to be burning energy. You're supposed to be burning organic matter. You do. But the incomplete burning of it is called soot. That's a whole thing than silt. Silt is being left behind from nature's flood. Soot is being left behind from humans' understanding. Y'all keep tapping, man. I keep talking, man. We appreciate all of you guys. If you're interested in the owner's manual for a measly funky $50, please DM us and we can get you the information and everything that you need. Cilantro juice. We've lost the effects of masticating the food, which is chewing. Way before you start juicing, you were chewing. So unless something is wrong with the gut, in order for you to juice or smoothie, I would suggest you try to eat these foods. Put them in your diet. Okay? Everybody get what we're saying right there, right? So now having this high tide moment and this low tide moment and being able to understand which of these dynamics that I need to exude certain elements of me allows me to be able to live in this paradigm at an all-time high level, at an elite level. An elite level. So there is electro. The electro is stationary, right? So it's an up and down thing that's stationary. The magnetic is the one that moves ins and out, right? But the electro with the magnetic produces the force. So if our cat is thought that can produce a fertile silt, and then my feelings is the planting of the seed, and my actions is the harvest of those thoughts and feelings, then I now understand how harvest happens, how the results of some. Y'all don't want to hear me, man. I'm trying to get you to understand how to do something. You're already doing it, but for some reason, when it comes to your healing and your health, you run out of gas. You don't know how to heal cancer. You know how to give yourself cancer. That's crazy. Okay, that's crazy to know how to give yourself counsel, but don't know how to heal yourself for counsel. That's crazy. That's a crazy one-sided power that you don't want to have. That's crazy that you know how to give yourself high blood pressure, but you don't know how to cure it. That's like if you got the power to create that issue, you got the power to create another thing. So, but you got to know your nature because you got to know when the opportune time. Some of you guys are trying to ask for healing at a low tide. Rest. That's the high tide. But look at what happened when the moon get closer to the earth and when the earth get closer to the sun is when these tides are happening. Then you get them twice a month. Now here's the thing: when a high tide happens on the earth, it increases the volume of fluids in the earth. Then what you think it's doing to a 75% fluid body like you? See, that if you are 75% fluid, like the earth is 75% fluid, when these moons are happening, new moon and full moon, what does increased water volume in the body do to you? And that's when these systems come in. The nervous system, the pituitary gland, this is the endocrine system. That's when you're talking about the digestive system, things coming out of the body during these. Then you're talking about the reproductive system, things being reproduced in the body during these floods. You still got to have semen, still get cycles, you're still getting eggs, you still got to create this fluid. See, these are fluid-based systems, reproductive organs. That's fluids come out of them. So when a high tide and when a new moon is coming, what is it doing to you? It's increasing your fluid volume, but what do you know that does? Well, the fluids in anybody means a what? Spiritual time. The waters mean spirit. The low tide, when it was the earth and you got to do your work, that's more physical. That's the electric. That's the masculine energy. So my time to do something is at low tide, new moon. My time to heal and to rest, that's at high tide, full moon. My time to invest, when is a good time to invest? In the growth and development stage. Which one of these is the growth and development stage? correct. The planting of the seed. I'm sowing my seed. I'm going to invest in this thing during these months. Now, what months are Perret again? From the Southern Hemisphere. The months of Perret are from January to May in the Southern Hemisphere. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, then it's going to be from June 21st to um, September 21st. That's your Perret. But that's just investment. When does the abundance come? When should I expect abundance? In Shamu. So it's 3 phases. Just because you're thinking of healing, you got to feel it before it becomes an action that you can actually show for. Your thoughts got to create the feeling in order for you to do an action. The only thing recorded is your actions, but it doesn't negate the thoughts and the feelings that come behind it. But the only thing that we can see is your actions. Your actions tell us how you feel about you, yourself, things, and everything else around you. You can be saying that you this person, that person, this person, but it's what you do that ultimately is going to be what quantifies what person you are, because we can't see your thoughts. We don't know your intentions. We didn't know that you really were trying not to burn me when you hit me with that iron. We didn't know that you were trying not to really defame me when you lied on me. We didn't know that you were really trying, because we are not in here. We can only see the action to dictate or to record what that thought or that feeling might look like. It's your actions that are being recorded as far as humans are concerned. This process that I just taught you is a process of not only financial literacy, but also health literacy, of how to be able to gain a foot, how to become in tune with nature. Knowing how to ride the tides of life. These are the tides of life. Okay. This is also the picture of the electromagnetic wave. This is also the picture of the quantum, if you're into that. Okay. If you're into that. Everything going to the left. Okay. Everything going to the left. This is an embodiment of everything. Okay. This is also a picture of the Ankh. Okay. The Ankh. If I put my Ankh up there, then it'll go right in there. It'll go right in here. The opening and the cross. My Ankh in there, the cross in there, the infinities in there, the third eye is in there. The ecliptic of the sun is in there. The electromagnetic wave is in there. The sound wave is in there. The chakras is in here. The zodiac is in here. The yin and the yang is in here. The 3 doshas is in here. Because if we know the 3 seasons and we know our correct, and now we can also designate the 3 doshas, Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. Now we also have the medicine wheel in here from the native Indians. We also know that during this particular Shamu, this was when Hapi, the sun god Hapi, Hapi, came into play. We also understand that these are the gods of the fertility gods of Isis and Osiris and Mut and Nut and Ra and all of these different names that you heard from the Egyptians are also wrapped up into this particular thing too. And there's also African traditional medicine, okay? Because again, we're talking about the Southern Hemisphere and being under the equator and being able to validate their time of the year and their season that's different from the Northern Hemisphere, and being able to understand that people that's under the equator ain't in the same season as folks in the Northern Equator, which is why it's valid to know your 2 sun signs, which is what we teach you for a funky measly little $50 in your owner's manual about how to know this. Because really, a Capricorn born in the Southern Hemisphere is really a Cancer. And you don't know that. And there's so much more you don't know. So what we're trying to discover to you is this whole little example that you get for that funky measly little $50 and just your birthday. We chronicleize everything that we feel like the book of life would give to you as far as a new baby born in this time and space, and show you this little instrumentation that you can use to not only balance out your wealth, but balance out your health and balance out your life and balance out your purpose. That's what we're teaching. That's what is affordable. That's what that quality of that little $50 is going to bring you. You don't need for it to be $1 million because it's not for the elite, it's for everybody. So you got to keep this thing affordable. And if I can go lower than that, I will. But you can't beat the design in which we're presented, which is nature. Forget my knowledge of herbs. I know nature. We know how to get in there with nature, baby. We know how to get in there with nature. You see? So now I'm understanding high tide and low tide. I'm understanding new moon and full moon. I'm understanding high tide is rest. I'm understanding low tide. I'm understanding now that if I don't complete the energy burn, then I'm creating soot instead of silt. What can come out of the silt? See, you have two choices. Will you create, would the situation would the situation allow for you to plant or first seed, or would the situation allow for you to come out with soot because you could not digest the organic matter in which you were given? And this happens sometimes. This is what I like to call trauma. Trauma is when you can't fully digest the stimuli that just happened to you. That's what a traumatic event is. That's what post-traumatic stress syndrome is, when you can't properly digest and absorb and understand what just going to happen to you. I fully believe that that's what that is. That's when you got to regurgitate. That's when it done made your stomach hurt. That's when you done got too full too early. That's when it don't sit well. And what I'm saying is the soil is your soul. The organic matter is everything that's in our environment creating our situation. Will we completely be able to burn, completely be able to utilize what we're going through in a profitable way, in a positive way, or will we always create this soot, not being able to completely digest the stimuli that's around us? Okay? Everybody understand that? So now we say, okay, well, how do I know when it's high tide or low tide? Know when it's new moon and full moon. It's telling you right now. How do I know when to rest? How do I know when to invest? How do I know when to rest? How do I know when to invest? How do I know when to rest? How do I know when to invest? They knew it by understanding the seasons of life. Aket, Peret, Shamu. Where are you? Are you in the inundation season, the deluge? Are you in the season of rest, the flood? Are you in the season of planting? Or are you in the season of abundance? Can you see where you're at? How many of you know what season you are in just based on that? Are you creating soot? Or are you planting seed in fertile silt? You got to let that flood happen. You got to let those thoughts happen. But after the flood of thought, after the flood of emotions, you want to plant good seeds of how to respond. The Bible is all about man's mind in this way. Adam representing the body and Eve representing the mind, and the serpent representing thought. Thought entered into the mind, body followed. So it has always been a spiritual understanding of how we respond to the experience of the experiment. How do we respond to the experience of this experiment? Okay. And your thoughts, your actions, and all these types of things have to be quantified in that, not only for you to be the best version of you, but also to get some of this gunk out of your way. See? So you got to see what this thing is really is. Fertile silt refers to a type of soil composed of fine mineral particles, typically larger than clay but smaller than sand, that is rich in nutrients and beneficial for plant growth. Silt is known for its ability to retain water and making it ideal medium for agriculture, making it an ideal medium for your manifestations. Fertile silt. This silt is in representation of the flood. So the flood, the waters are in representation of your spirit. When you rest, your spirit is more in control. So during the flood, we want you to understand that there's a spiritual portion to your existence. There's a spiritual season to your existence. There's a resting time to your existence. Okay? And if you give yourself that proper time, then you're going to create fertile silt. This silt is going to be utilized whenever you have your ideals, which is in your correct season. So right after you done sat there and spiritual, right after you done sat there and rested, right after you done sat there and collected your spiritual understanding, your mind done got right, your spirit done got right, because you just done rested for 4 months, a season. And I don't taught y'all this 1,000 different ways, but now we're teaching it to you from the ancient Egyptian understanding. That if I sit and rest, the value of rest will inspire and increase my spiritual function. That then will give me creative ideals that now I can go out in and plant and invest. See, when I rest, I come up with the best ideas because I'm dreaming and I'm imagining again because I'm not convoluted with shit I got to do. Doing keeps you from resting. So now this resting period gets the value it deserves, which is the flood of thoughts. In the flood of thoughts, I can come up with all kinds of shit. Boy, that's the difference between writer's block and reader's block is not being able to have that creativity. So now I value this rest, this flood of thought, and I can sit in it. I can rest in it. I can build spirit and increase spiritual awareness and giftings in it. And then the next thing you know, now I can start to create those ideas. I can start planning my to-do list. After I start planning my to-do list, then boom. So now what this means is not only can I rest a while in life in my spirit, but it's also this flood means I can get sick. Because now we're talking about the lymphatic system of the body, and we're talking about how that can affect the reproductive organs of the body, the endocrine system, the circulatory system, the immune system, and everything else. So this is spiritual, but we're talking physical, all in the same essence. That if I don't rest, then I get over flooded instead of with thoughts. But a high volume of toxicity within the fluid system, high tide. If you don't rest during high tide, then you're gonna get an increase in fluid. The new moon creates the low tide. The full moon creates the high tide. If you keep ignoring this as you go through life, you don't think planetary movement has no influence on your little body. You keep doing things you ain't got no business doing during the high tide, creating more higher temperatures during high volume, which is corroding the body more and creating a more acidic environment. You can't make it to 120 years and you won't make it to. If you think 120 years is unbelievable, you definitely is not prepared for everlasting life. What I'm teaching you is how to defeat death, but you can't see it. I'm going somewhere. This is old, ancient, sacred knowledge that can create not only problems, but also solutions. What we found is the solutions out of understanding this particular paradigm. The non-physical reality is infinite. The physical reality is finite. I hear you. I hear you. We all like using them big old words over there done with G Trend. Okay. So now understanding this dynamic now says, okay, so twice a month I got this, but really you telling me that this is all understandable because rest is really everything that I've been talking about. So now we look at Monday, the 7 days of the week. Monday is the adrenal. I'm just saying because that's when you're getting ready to go back in it. Tuesday, the gonads. Wednesday, the solar plexus. Wednesday, the thyroid. Friday, the thyroid. Saturday, the pituitary. Pineal is Sunday. Pineal controls your light sensitivity via the sun, control of your biological clock, your circadian rhythm via the circle that you see in the movie talking about the sun. Right? So now we understand that this encompasses 7 days of the week. Well, now let's keep it moving. We're talking about the 9 planets. We can put them there as well. Now let's keep it moving. We're talking about the life path numbers. All of those is in these 7 things as well. Now let's keep it moving. We're talking about what else I have for you? The 7 days that God created the earth, and then the 7th day He rested. Pineal. So you should rest on Sunday. The a rest after Saturday, however you want to call it. You should a guard rested on the 7th day. The pineal is talking about rest. What is it that we're not understanding? Because rest it controls your melatonin because when you close your eyes and dark starts to activate, that activates melatonin. Melatonin is your antioxidant to keep you from aging out this process. So it's actually the magic inside the body. But if you can't understand the value of rest based on a natural cyclical understanding of nature, then there ain't nothing that I can tell you to do. Because in resting is where the healing is. Look, let me show you something. The heart chakra is love and healing. It's love and healing. So either you're spending all of your life trying to get love and healing, or you've actually received love and healing, and you're utilizing love and healing on the people. Let me show you this. Love and healing is the fourth chakra over here, which is the heart chakra. Either you're spending the rest of your life as love and healing is the objective. You just want some love and healing. Or you've managed to get love and healing since you've been here. And you're utilizing love and healing in the way that you talk to people, see people, and feel people, and think about it. You're either trying to get it or you got it. You're either searching for love and healing or you have it. Which side are you on? It's gonna tell you a lot about your shit. And when you start to see which side of these on, lower self doesn't mean anything bad. It just means the physical, you're in the physical. But what tide is this? What moment is this in my life? We can tell you all that for your measly little funky $50. Okay, let's get this up to 50K. You guys, if you got questions, this is a prime time for your questions. Welcome everybody from YouTube. If you got questions, holler at me. Yes, I need to hear this. Love if you're living in Sabbath means eternal resurrection, killers, rest, rejuvenation. Appreciate you, G Tran. The non-physical reality is infinite. Yeah. Have to let the fear go and love yourself so you can love others. Yeah, but that ain't what I asked you though. I ain't asked you that. I asked you, do you have love and healing or are you utilizing it? There are most of us that are dealing with problems, diseases, divorce, disagreements, the financial woes, all this stuff. We're looking for love and healing. Y'all might well go and keep it real. We're looking for love in all the wrong places. Have you been looking for love in all the wrong places? Trying to find it behind the wrong faces. It's from above. There's no replacing the greatest love of all. We're all looking for love in all the wrong places, trying to find it behind all the wrong faces, right? So the problem is There's only a particular few of us that know how to utilize the love and healing because most of us is looking for it. You see? And that's the difference between the paradigm of the high self and lower self. You said, I give it liberally but can't receive it back. Well, that is still a level I am. There's still a level just in that statement you made. There is still a level of love that you have to get to in order to understand what love really is. I'm just gonna say it like that. Just based on your statement, I am Ma'at. There is still a level of love that is waiting for you, that exists, that you need to get to where you wouldn't even make that particular statement. Not that it's a bad statement. It's just I'm trying to show you the level of love that still is waiting for you. And what I mean by that is that there's a certain love you get to where there ain't no looking for return and there ain't even no mentioning of it. Right? I try and show love and respect to everybody, but I'm still looking for more. Yeah, but the love what I'm talking about is not a love from people. See, the love from people is always going to be at best a disappointment. Nobody's going to do what you want them to do, and nobody's going to be you. So you're looking for yourself. Most of us who are dating is looking for ourselves, right? And then when you find yourself, you don't even like that. So at the end of the day, we don't want you to look for it from humanity in the terms of unconditional. It's okay to think and understand for man's love to be conditional because this is a reciprocal understanding, right? You give me something, I give you something. You bring something to the table, I bring something to the table because that's a reciprocal nature. That's not a bad thing. But when it comes to nature, nature is non-reciprocal. You ain't did shit for the sun. You ain't doing nothing for Alpha, nothing for the water, nothing for the earth to stay in the place in order for this incubation to continue. So it's a non-reciprocal love. It's a fully functional example of unconditional love, but it reserved its space just for it. You can't find it in humanity. So what I'm trying to do is focus y'all on what the Bible was trying to teach you was to look for it. And see, that's what the Bible really was trying to tell you. That's what Jesus was really trying to explain to you, even though he wasn't real. It was trying to tell you that what you're looking for, you got to keep looking where you learned it in the first place. It was in nature. You learn medicine in nature, how to build a car, how to build a skyscraper, how to get your money. All that is made by nature. There's not $1 on the planet that ain't made by nature. If it's a real token of currency, it's got some value, some mineral, some tree. It comes from it got to have a value to it. There ain't not one red ring that you really that's a real one that ain't got a value because it's some mineral, it's some extravagant commodity that's coming from nature. So nature ain't never had nothing that was undervalued. But what nature is doing is preserving this only one thing of unconditional love to itself. You can't find this in nothing else but God, nature. Y'all will get that one day, man. Y'all keep tapping the screen. I keep talking, man. Welcome to the HerbMan Show. We teaching you guys about how to heal yourself. You can't heal yourself without knowing thyself. On here, we teach you about the human frame and human design so that you can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. We're giving you deep spiritual understanding of nature so that you can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. We do this all for measly little funky $50, okay? Measly funky $50. You get everything you need from nature. We go back to nature. Call me the nature whisperer. Right? But we're going back to nature with your birthday. We don't need a blood type, a blood sample. We don't need a stool sample, a urine sample. We don't need a hair sample. We don't need a live culture from nothing on you. We ain't gonna prick you, prod you, or poke you. This is non-invasive, non-intrusive information that will give you the highest you can have. You can go to your local herbalist and get the herbs that is providing for you. You can go to your local Whole Foods and get the food. Ain't nothing else coming out of there but information that you need. You become the number one advocate for your health That's ultimately the one that's responsible for it. But we do teach you how to get back in tune with your nature and the nature of nature itself. Acting in life the way you want to be treated. They put us in boxes we will when we pass because they sacred the earth. That will make us. I love your teaching. I have received this knowledge. Still love your approach. Thank you very much, kid. I try to make sure, man, that we're doing it the way that we're supposed to. For real, how do I get back into my high self rest? I don't know what deem my life. So the best way to answer that question, because I think that that's the question everybody wants to know. After a certain amount of time of hearing somebody, you feel like you know what they're talking about, and you just want to speed up and get to the how do we do it? You cannot do it without the proper information. And that's not being a gatekeeper, but that's telling you that there's something you gotta have instruction. There's got to be instruction. And so an owner's manual serves as a guide to get the optimal performance, the longevity. But the thing about it is everybody needs to know this, not just me. This is a everybody on the planet, which is why we coming live from South Africa, trying to teach this idea over here as well to the people who hear me, who around me, who see me and who know me. You got to get back on cycle. I just told you that the folks in South Africa think that this goddamn June, right? They think it is June instead of it being, well, put like this, it is June, but they think it's the 6th month instead of it being like the 9th month, right? And that little shift will cause you to be out of tune with nature. If I make the whole southern hemisphere think it's the 6th month instead of the 9th month, what have I done? Listen to this. Keep tapping that screen, you guys. Let's get us up to 100. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna say this until I get to about 50 something K. Matter of fact, yeah, because I'm almost at 6 o'clock. Y'all know I leave off of them. Y'all are not gonna get this good ass information for free. I'm trying to tell you to tap the screen. Okay. I was just about to give you another nugget till I see you're not doing your job. I'm gonna be an open vessel for the spirit to talk to me, to talk to you. Now do your job. Share the information. I cannot be everywhere, nor would I be in this paradigm for before I knew this information, I fought against the tide. My body wore the fuck out. But that don't mean that we can't teach the next generation. I might not make it to everlasting life with you. I might not make it to 120 years with you, but it's not my job to make it. It's my job to tell you that you can. It's my job to spread the sacred knowledge of our ancestors, continuing to the people after us, no matter what the year is named, no matter if it's 4,025, there will always be nature, would mean that somebody got to know nature or the bloodline of all humanity. We won't make it that far. Somebody got to continue to keep knowing nature. Got to be the mediator to you and nature. Got to be the spokesman. Got to be the one to be able to let you know what thus said nature is saying. Right? I ain't nobody new. My spirit is not new, it's ancient. Okay? But you don't get this for free. You got to pay attention. And how you simply pay attention is by double tapping that screen and getting this thing out to as many people as possible. Okay? What I'm about to reveal to you, because y'all are asking me how and the why. And I keep telling y'all in a nutshell about it being in your rest, but also about what you get in understanding rest is. Resting your mind and resting your body is what you got to do. Some of you guys are retired from your job and you done rested the body, but you can't rest your mind and you don't know how to do that. So if you can't rest the mind, nor can you rest the body, you can never rest. So some of you motherfuckers is out here to speak my friend. I got to cut y'all ass out. Spirit. Some of you guys out here thinking that you can bypass rest and be at your best. You ain't doing nothing but getting caught up in the cobweb of death because we don't understand the balance of that. Okay? We don't understand the balance in that. The trick to this is to know the high tide. Knowing the high tide of your life will know when you need to rest or be more of a spiritual cocoon. Resting is more or less about taking the 2 weeks in. If full moon is 2 weeks and new moon is 2 weeks, out of every month, I'm gonna get 2 chances to rest and 2 chances to do. 2 chances to rest, 2 chances to invest. I gotta get real sensitive to these moments, unless you can just look at a map and know when the new moon comes. But I would want you to look more at your life. There are times for you to rest on a subject matter that you and your old lady fighting on a topic that you and your kids can't settle, on a issue that you can't get rid of at work. But there's a time to rest on it, and then there's also a time to yourself to invest and put effort into what it is that you're trying to get out of the next month or the next few days or even the next minute. And you got to know how to treat the time clock of life like when I got to know how to hopscotch. It's a sympathetic, parasympathetic reflex, right? You got excited and rest. It's your heartbeat. It's your diastolic, your systolic. Diastolic, systolic. Systolic is going to be when? What? It's the highest pressure going through the blood vessel. Diastolic is going to be what? The lowest time, the lowest pressure going through the blood vessel. So the diastolic means when he rests, systolic means when it's beating. Easy. So it's a beat rest type of thing. Beat rest, do rest, beat rest, do rest, do heal, do heal. What you're doing is doing, heal, doing, heal. You see how you're out of rhythm, out of tune. So if I say that the people in South Africa or people up under the southern the equator is in the wrong time, if you're supposed to be in the ninth month and you're in the sixth month, I'll set you back in spiritual terms as well as in the natural. Did y'all just hear that? Because you don't understand what 3 months is. Remember, I told you these are 10 years intervals. So that's 30 years. 30 years. If you're supposed to be in the ninth month in your current calendar, but the Gregorian calendar got you saying 6 months. You are 3 months, which could be 30 years spiritually behind where you're supposed to be as a culture. Now, in the northern hemisphere, June is what? The fourth month, right? You got March, April, May, June. Guess what? Guess what the northern hemisphere did? The northern hemisphere is really in the fourth month. It sped itself up 2 months, 20 years. And now it's in the 6 month. Changing the seasons push the southern hemisphere back in time spiritually and push the northern hemisphere forward in time. So now if you 30 years back from 2025 and I'm 20 years ahead of 2025, how many years are you back? 50 years. If you 30 years back of 2025 and I'm 20 years ahead in 2025, that means the countries in the northern hemisphere are vibing at a 2045 level, while the ones down here are vibing at a 2000 and it still got down 1990 something. It's 1995. While you at 2020, 2045. Shifting, 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 right? Not understanding that also the southern hemisphere were actually the northern hemisphere in the old calendars. So you see how they can mess with the directional of nature and get you out of tune. So how you get back in tune? is knowing what the high tides and low tides is of life. You get this information in your owner's manual for a funky measly $50. Anybody interested, please go to the DM and we got you. But not only that, you get this illustration in your owner's manual as well, your E format, and then you're able to see and walk yourself around this particular dynamic, knowing when the high tide, low tides are of life, knowing when to invest, knowing when to rest. This is how you take opportunities into your own hands. This is how you manifest. This is how you get rich. This is how you do this thing. This is how you get your healing. You just got to know when you got it. And that has always been the ancient system of our people, is to know when, and that's what got us here today. Now, the when people are what you would call the Illuminatis, or what you would call the one percenters, because they kept the knowledge for themselves to know calculations, to know when to do things that you don't know when to do. But we don't need the books no more. We don't need the all of the old ancient stuff they stole from Alexandria. And we don't need everything that Imhotep ever wrote. And we don't need no more the scrolls and all that type of stuff. You know why? Because this now has become a signet in the minds and hearts of those that are born now. So now it ain't a bloodline thing physically. Now it's become that bloodline thing spiritually. Now you're gonna get folk that you wouldn't normally get that's got the truth embedded in their spirit. Now you're gonna get colors of folk that you wouldn't normally associate with knowledge, having the knowledge. Now you're gonna get folk coming from all kinds of places that you wouldn't normally see the great things come from now. See, now you're gonna start seeing folk like myself that you didn't see coming, and nobody in my family see it coming, including me. But they come out of the woodwork because they got something that nature can work with. And it's just the willingness to speak what said nature, which means that you cannot be afraid. When I get on here, I ain't got to read shit. Ain't nothing wrote. I got to regurgitate and remember everything that I say. So this just like being a freestyle artist. Just go. That is an ability that y'all don't really understand. Some folk got to remember stuff by reading the Bible over and over and over again. Nah, we don't got to do that. But this symbol is everything that you've ever understood and everything that you've ever known. And the biggest thing to get to your rest is to know how to ride the tides. Okay. And the highest tide in your life is at the time where rest comes in. And at the lowest tides is what you call the lowest self. Okay. This is where the get good. But you can't always consume. You pillage the land. You're just always in consumption. You've always planted the seed and harvest. And you don't value the flooding. When you don't value the flooding and less floods of thoughts come in, less and less creative ideas come in, less and less imagination comes in, less and less abilities to have spiritual giftings come in, less and less ability to into your healing mechanism. And you have less and less defense mechanism against things that are circumventable in this environment. You are equipped to be healed from anything that this environment brings into you. But you must first understand that you have two objectives. Every problem, every stimuli that comes into your environment is for your good. You just got to have the proper response to it. Your response is when it becomes a bad or good thing. But the stimuli itself is very much needed. You need to be aware of lions, tigers, and bears. You need to be aware of poisonous and good plants. You need to be aware of thunderstorms and earthquakes and tornadoes and all that. You need to be aware of the rain and the cold and the disease and the flus. And you need to have that awareness. That is a good thing. But to be ignorant, to be delusional, to not be aware is the bad thing. And because you're not aware that the environment has sickness in you, you run right into it. You're not aware that this environment has poisonous things and these other, so you are running right into it because your awareness Your third eye is being covered with soot. It's being covered with soot because you are ingesting the stimuli and you're not fully completing burning of the organic matter. The fire is in the pineal, that's the burning. The fire is in the digestive system, that's the burning. You're not fully digesting what's coming into the mind, nor are you fully digesting what's coming into the body. So you're creating soot. Y'all read that up there. Y'all see that? This is silt. Okay. Let me put the soot on. I ain't looking. I told you I wasn't coming to play today. We're gonna make it happen. Now, when I first put in soot, it came to this. In the context of software testing, SIT stands for System Under Test. It refers to the specific software or system that is currently being evaluated for correctness and functionality. The term is commonly used in the field of software engineering and testing. So basically what they're saying is SIT is the very, again, this is about responding to stimuli. When stimuli comes in, there is a system under test. Okay, when stimuli is being introduced into your environment, when organic matter is being, meaning organic matter, meaning something that matters to you, that's going to affect you in some kind of way. This stimuli is going to have some kind of effect to you. When it's cold outside, it's cold to you. When it's hot outside, it's hot to you. When you're angry, you angry. When you're frustrated, it's you. It's when you tired, it's you. When you going through, it's you. When you hungry, it's you. When you want to do something to you, it's when you want to do something to somebody else, it's you. It's a stimuli that is got you under test. And we're trying to test out your nervous system to see how you think, your endocrine system to see how you feel. We're trying to test out your pituitary gland to see how you perceive. We're trying to test out your thyroid to see how you trust. We're trying to test out your thymus and see how you grieve. And we're trying to test out your pancreas and your liver and gallbladder and see how you digest in the body. We're trying to test out your gonads to see how you reproduce. We're trying to test out your adrenals and see how much energy you got. We're trying to test out. It's a system under test. But if you don't complete the burning of the energy, because it's testing for your correctiveness and functionality, you're supposed to burn the energy, meaning that when I test this, you're supposed to complete the test. An incomplete burning of organic matter is soot. Soot is also a system under test to see if it does what? Burns organic matter completely. The reason why you're getting disease is because you're not burning organic matter, which is life's or everything, the stimuli, completely. So because you're not burning this information completely in the mind and in your gut, because we're programmed that way now to not understand this information the way we should in the natural content, guess what? You now cannot get the opportunity of the fertile silt. Instead, you're getting the opportunity of the soot because you're not understanding the flooding of thoughts. You get overwhelmed and cannot burn the energy that a flood of thoughts creates. And because you cannot burn the energy of the increase of the thoughts, then you have an increase in feelings. Endocrine system controls the feelings or the emotions and puts chemicals into the blood, increasing the volume of your fluids. Okay? And this is where we get cancers coming from these emotions, coming from the overflooding, and the overflooding of all this stuff has got babies in it. These babies are called your cells. So when you start getting a high volume of flood, now you start to change the temperature of the fluids. Anytime you get more water into a 98.6 degrees body, then you're going to cool it down more. During the high tide, it should be more cooler. The more humidity, the more fluids, the cooler the temperature will turn to get. This is what cold, mucus exists in the cold. Everything that I'm explaining to you is a natural phenomenon outside you and inside of you. Everything that I've taught you from the Bible to the Kabbalah to all these different references of the Quran and the Torah and all of this stuff is talking about outside of you and inside of you. Everything that these people have ever tried to share with you is a sacredness about the inside of you and the outside of you. The only thing is that you've never seen somebody combine all the information and utilize it to actually bring about everlasting life. But that don't mean it was impossible. It's all about timing. It had to be illustrated. You are a optical person. Optics means something to you. Optics is how you got socially engineered. Optics is all about what we're talking about now. Sleep and increase the optics, or be awake and decrease the optics. In the physical and stay awake and be a master of the environment, but kill the body. Be a sleeper in the environment and be a master of the environment and retain it. But you can't sleep until you get content. And you got to learn how to be content with nature and wait on nature. That's why we told you about the Egyptians. They waited on that flood. They asked for that flood to come in. They waited them 4 months. When Perret came in, they understood what that meant. They went out and did what they needed to do and plant their seeds and tilled the ground and got ready for the harvest. And they prayed for Shamu when Shamu came in, and they made sure to thank Shamu for the harvest and for the fertility and for the abundance. Because this is all reproductive in nature, which is why it's going to be your nervous system, okay? First, the pineal and the pituitary gland. 2, the hypothalamus and the thalamus. 2, the thyroid, the parathyroid and the thyroid. 2, the thymus glands got 2 sides to it. The pancreas, okay? But we know the pancreas works in tandem with what? The gallbladder. 2, we know the liver works in tandem with who? The gallbladder. 2, okay, the gonads. We know you got 2 ovaries, just like we got 2 testicles, okay? Drills, we know there's 2 drills and 2 kidneys. The 2 sides of the lungs, 2 eyes, 2 ventricles of the heart, the left and the right ventricle. 2 blood vessels, one called the arteries, moving blood away from the heart, and a vein moving blood to the heart. Learning how to work your tubes, high tide, low tide. What season am I in? Any question thus far? Any question thus far? I have never loved myself as much as I do today. Well, that's pretty good. Thank you, Angie Moon. This might be my favorite episode. Can't wait till we right. Yeah, the high tide, low tide of life. The silk or the silk or the soot. Silt or the soot. Break it down. How will you see a message? Godfather, what do you mean by that? What's your question about what? How will you see a message? What question are you asking? How do you understand this? How do you put this and incorporate this in your life? What's the question? So I'm interested in the info. Yeah, if you want the owner's manual, you can just DM me and we'll get you all the information for your owner's manual. All we require is the birthday. That's it. Everything else you get. for that funky measly little $50, okay? Which also is going to give you how to manage these spiritual things, how to also get the foods, the herbs, everything. Everything is incorporated with this. The one thing the ancestors didn't do, that they joined team, okay? The shamans were the shamans. They believe in shamanism. Okay, you have the Condurangas down in Mexico. You got the Sangomas. Okay, you have the traditional Chinese medicine, the Tibetan medicine, right? You have the Native Indian medicine. You have all these different things. Okay, the Western herbalism. You got the Appalachian Mountain, the Southern herbalism. You got the European and stuff that what they doing over there in herbalism as well. You got the Ayurvedic and what the yogas and the gurus over there in India were doing in medicine as well. But the thing about it is, everybody is trying to join a team instead of putting it all together. What really makes this the best system and the best program is that all of the esoteric knowledge, all of the natural phenomenon, all of the atoms, the electrons, the protons, the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, the 12 cell salts, all this biochemical stuff, or all of this biology, the body system, the cellular, mitochondria, the ATP, the ADP, all of this vernacular, medical vernacular, life experience, all of this Illuminati talk, all of the sacred and secret organisms, secret organizations, and all these different things are all wrapped up into this commodity. And there's no way to escape it when it's all bottled up. This is the genie in the bottle. This is literally the bird's eye view of everything. Now, what you do with it is an incredible thing, but what you should do with it is just use it personal. Make it more of a personal charm instead of you trying to make it to where it's this big old thing for everybody. To know you is the best thing that I'm trying to do for you. I'm not talking about brother, your wife know your wife don't know you, brother. Your mom and them don't know you, brother. Your children don't know you. You know what I'm talking about. You need to know you. That man don't know you like you want him to know you. Your mama don't know you, sweetheart. Your children don't know you. You need to know you like you need to know. And you don't know that because you're reading other books of other people telling you about them, and you're trying to figure out your them and them. You can't read about Jesus and know about you unless you understanding what Jesus was talking about you. And that's where this come in. Following the Son of God, the Son eclipsed. It's in here. Everlasting life that he's talking about is in here. The stuff is true, but you don't know how to get there. It's here. Healing is true, but you don't know how to get there. It's here. Everlasting life is true, y'all, but you don't know how to get there. But it's here. It's in the illustration. It's in the illustration of nature. It's in the teaching of nature. You have all the ancient secrets to life. Now I'm tired of talking. Any question? The manual will address you, Misty. It ain't going to address just no one thing. It's going to address you. The problem is Misty. Not Misty got a problem. Misty is the problem. Then we fix Misty and we fix the problem that Misty got. You understand that concept? The problem ain't what Misty have. The problem is Misty. So you fix Misty, you fix the problem that Misty got. But if you just try to fix the problems that Misty got without fixing Misty, Misty always will have a problem. That's what you're getting in the owner's manual, Misty. I'm limited to one message to you, so I couldn't send you in bird. I don't know why you just limited to that. But, I'll DM me and give you what you need. I read the Bible spiritually now, and I understand and remembering. Yes, the Bible is about the mind and the body and the coexistence of those things. Okay, it is a decoded book. It is a book of parablism, and metaphoricalism and metaphysical type stuff. And you got to be spiritually endowed to to know what those things. Those are not people. Those are not places. Those are beings that come into the mind. It's a documentary of the mind's journey. Okay, Bible is a spiritual book. It's about your spirit. It's about your mind. So it's a documentary of people before us talking about the mind's journey. So the mind came into the body, Genesis, the genealogy of the body, Adam. Revelation is the birth of the mind. The mind came into the body, and then now the body, now the mind is out doing its own thing. So revelation is coming off of behind the veil. The veil of what? You don't value or understand the value of body preservation. Body preservation is something that you have to know in this space. And this is space. This is gravity. This is all kinds of shit going on in the atmosphere. You just looking at experience. And you just looking at the weatherman instead of the climate that makes the weather. You're looking at the experience of life instead of the atmosphere that incubates life. See how you looking at a world instead of an earth? So you're not valuing the earth in which is incubating your world. And there is a symbology that if you understood earth, you understood how to navigate your world. Because the earth and the universe has an effect, a direct influence on your possibilities, your chances. Also your skills and your abilities, also dictated by the atmosphere, which is the universe. The more you know about how they dictate and influence you, the more now you start riding the waves of life, including unctioning and conjugating up healing episodes when you're interested in them. They used to use this to know when to have surgery. And they would always tell you don't have surgery during certain times of the moon. A waxing moon, a waning moon. One of them may tell you go ahead down there and have your surgery. One of them they told you not to do it during that time. They told you not when not to leave the house, when not to go down there and gamble at cash 3 and cash 4. You doing it every day. That's why your ass losing. There's a time to go play the number, but you don't know it. There's a time to call that job that you want, but you don't know it. There's a time. You see? There's a time for you to call that job that you really want, but you don't know the correct time. You don't know when that woman gonna be there at that day and answer your phone call and something she gonna feel. You don't know it, so you keep missing them because your ESP ain't strong enough. Because your natural ain't super enough. Because you're out of tune with nature. All of the possibilities you've ever read, everything that you've ever known, everything that you've ever known about how we got to this point is true. The reason why it is impossible is because we simply have been turned around. To take the whole southern hemisphere and take them back 3 months in actuality, in spirituality, it's the reason why we're at a deficit. And I'm here trying to change that up under this southern hemisphere. If you guys are in South Africa or anywhere close by, you need me to come talk to you about what we talked about today. Silt, Soot, understanding the high tide, low tides of life, understanding the ebbs and flows, understanding your nature, the feminine, masculine principles, understanding how to ride this wave and get to your eternal life, your 120 years upright, then understanding the value of health and the consciousness and the health of your consciousness is everything. Please email us. We'll come out. We'll talk to the boatloads of people. You bring them, I'll come. That's the business transaction. You get me the folks to talk to, and we'll talk to some folks. Okay. So if you're interested in this, please DM me so that you'll know. The very critical thing that you get out of this is that high tide and low tide understanding, but also what seasons you're in and understand what am I supposed to be doing at this point in my life? That should be y'all question. I'm sick, I'm messed up in my body, in my mind. What am I supposed to be doing? And then let the owner's manual serve as a guide to get you to where you want to be. Do you explain the moons in the manuals. There's no need to. The reason why there's no need to explain the moon is because you don't know your suns. Okay? And the moon is the reflection of the sun. Scientifically, the moon reflects the sun's light. Okay? So the more you know about sun, and then if the moon is just going to be a reflection of me, then it's about more understanding the sun. Because the reflection in me is a shadow. The brighter I get, the brighter the moon gets. The subtle I get in my light, the subtle the light comes from the moon. So I don't have to fixate on the moon if it's going to be a mirror image. I can just fixate on the suns in me. That's where the valuability of the two suns are about anyway. Just think about it. You're a Capricorn and you really a Cancer. Every reading you ever got, you don't even know nothing about. You know, they ain't give you all your information. Just think about if you were born in June in the southern hemisphere and you thought you was a Gemini, then that's really a Sagittarius. Let's think about it. And then you a Gemini wonder why you got eye condition. You're a Gemini, you wonder why you got injuries to the eye, why you wearing eyeglasses, why you had bad eyesight, why you got this-sided, far-sighted, something happened, eye injury. You know, you're a Gemini, man. Why I got bad eye for? You think because you got two eyes, that means Gemini. No, that's a Sagittarian quality. But you didn't know that. You didn't know that. Did we get the correct months and stuff to explain our sons in the manual? No, but you do get the correct sons. Yes, you do get the correct sons. You do get, you don't necessarily need the correct months, but I can give them to you. But that's not something that I just put in now because that's just kind of for your own entertainment, for your own study that you want to do. I always used to have that up there on the board. So just understand that in the Southern Hemisphere, okay, you start off at the ninth month. So March is the ninth month. I'm sorry, the seventh month. March is the seventh month under the Southern Hemisphere. March is the first month under the Northern Hemisphere. So in actuality, it turns New Year's in September 23rd under the equator. It is New Year's March the 21st on the Northern Hemisphere. So it's spring in America, it is fall in any parts under the equator. When it is summer in the Northern Hemisphere, it is winter. So like right now, we're in June. It's cold as hell down here in South Africa because this is their winter. So again, Southern Hemisphere, I'm a Gemini. I mean, in the Northern Hemisphere, I'm a Gemini, right? Summer baby. But I'm down here in South Africa, it's winter. That's Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the one that's in November. Sagittarius is the one that's in the cold. You see? So I'm in my Sagittarian phase in down here. That's what you need to know. But shifting those things cause you to get out of tune with nature. Not knowing that 3 months behind or not knowing that 2 months ahead. To put you 2 months ahead garnished up spiritual energy. I told you these things have influence on you that you don't understand. The universe, the constellation, and the planetary movements have influences on you that you ain't understanding. This is why your ass is getting sick and can't heal. You're not understanding what is making you do what you're doing. There's planetary things happening that's creating an influence on your damn mind that you don't know. Okay? But there's also creating moments, opportunities that you don't know. It ain't just that you don't know when to do this, you don't know when not to do that. So it benefits you both ways. When to do something and you know when not to do something. See? So this wind is starting to come in. We're starting to get the wind now. And this is the best alternative to modern medicine today. We're going to continue to teach you guys this methodology. Okay? If you guys are interested, please DM me. We'll get you the information that you need. Is that why you want to study South Africa to get more in tune? It's not necessarily to stay in South Africa to get more in tune. It's just an environment that can create the tune. An environment that can incubate who you are. An environment that can incubate. If you're trying to go back to nature, you need more of a natural environment. Okay, it's more than just South Africa because if it's not here, I'm gonna find it somewhere else. Okay, you're trying to find that utopia that incubates who you are trying to be, and if you're trying to be more natural, then you just find a more natural utopia. And you can find it in America, you can find it in Africa, you can find it in South America, you can find it in Europe, you can find it in Asia. But I'm just telling you that. How long does it take? Normally, it's a 24-hour turnaround. It's been a mistake in the correspondence, but normally 24-hour turnaround. Thank you, Manny Manny. What calendar am I using? I'm not using any calendar, but what we do use is we use the oldest calendar on the planet, which comes from Mpumalanga. And it's called that Mpumalanga. Yeah, it's Mpumalanga, right? It's called Adam's calendar. So the Adams calendar is the one that you would need to use because that's the one that pushed the Southern Hemisphere into its proper perspective. Also, it's the oldest one. It's 75,000 years old, and that's just what they think. Ain't nothing older than that. And it ain't nothing but stone hinges and stuff of that nature. But the bottom line is you're opposite, okay? And that's what I'm trying to teach you. The opposite is ride the way. Getting back into with nature be the way that you do it. Y'all can't run from this, man. It's time for you to stop running. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no synthetic way to do something. There's no carnal way to do something spiritual. There's no fleshly way to do something spiritual. There's no carnal way to do this. There's no medical way to treat you if you're a spiritual being. Y'all gotta stop playing, okay? You gotta stop playing, grandmama. Stop playing with your life, son. Stop playing with your life, because there is no physical way to handle spiritual problems. Stuff that you've been through in this life has caused you more of a thought and feeling issues. The bruise are healed, the scar are healed, but what we're finding is the bruising and the scarring of the spirit is a lot more tender. And there are scar tissue that are being left behind in these areas that causes you to have a depleted spiritual activation in this spiritual journey, in this physical journey, which then it offers you from experiencing everything the right way. Okay? I'm ready to face this day head on. There you go. You got to get ready for it. It's a spiritual undertaking. You got to be ready for it. It's what you've been waiting for in church, but you can do this in your home. It's what you've been waiting for from the doctor's office, but you can do this in your home. It's what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting on this healing. I told you guys, most of us are down here in our lower chakra, and we're waiting on this love and healing. And then some of us already come in with love and healing, and then we're utilizing it to love and heal. See, the people down here ain't got love and healing. That's what they want. Some of us come in with love and healing, and so we love and we heal the people. Y'all get it now? The high tide, the low tide. I want love and healing. That's the low tide. I got love and healing. That's the high tide. Which side are you on? Do you got it or do you want it? Love you. We thank you. May the Almighty creator continue to guide and bless your path. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You're so awesome. We appreciate you guys very much, man. Appreciate all the love. This is my love offering. This is what I can do. This is how I do to give back. We got about 8 more minutes, 9 more minutes until the live goes off, man. We've reached 100K. I always say this, man, but I love you guys, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it because you guys are the major ingredient to this. You can't, one thing I learned about understanding magic or understanding miracles is right before Jesus ever did any signs and wonders. It always said that he had compassion and compel, right? And I use them two dynamics of compassion and compelling, right? To be more like an electro and a magnetic type of understanding, or a masculine and a feminine energy to create a reproduction. That if I got compassion and I'm compelled and rub them together, it creates the sign and the wonder. If I got compassion for the life of something, and that compassion for the life of something compels me to save it, to want it to be healed. It said that Jesus already had knew Lazarus died. Jesus knew Lazarus was dead way before he had told about burying him off. Jesus didn't go down and run down there to raise Lazarus when he first knew about it. It said that it was when he saw the anguish on Martha and Mary's face, when he saw how much Lazarus meant to his mama and his sister. Then he had compassion. Then he got compelled. And it said that Jesus wept. The shortest scripture in the Bible. He didn't cry when he really knew Lazarus dead. He cried when he knew how much Lazarus meant to the people that loved Lazarus. And that conjugated up an energy. And that energy of compassion and compelled, of feminine and masculine, rubbed together, created the ability to raise up Lazarus. Listen to that. What does that mean mentally to you if the characters ain't real? Come on, somebody. About 7 more minutes, talk to me. What? Because I'm teaching you how to read the Bible. Those characters ain't real. But that message is. And it's talking about a mind. It's talking about a mind. A mind that knew something had died. A mind that knew a physical. So basically what we're talking about is the physical. The masculine energy. The fleshly part, the carnal. Then we're talking about a feminine energy. The creative side of the mind. One wasn't working right until the other one understood the importance of it, the importance of the duality, the importance of the reproduction, the importance of the friction, the importance of the agitation, the importance of the thought and the feeling, compelled and compassion, the thought and the feeling, the thought to do something and the feeling to do it, created the action that was the result of those thoughts and feelings. You have to think that you can heal yourself, and then this is the kicker. You got the feeling, and that feeling is a little different than thought. A lot of you guys are coming and you're buying the owner's manual, you're just in thought. You haven't yet understood and been able to connect to the feeling. Therefore, you can't get the result. Listen to me one more time. A lot of you guys are listening to me and you're in thought. And right now, this shit sounds good to your mind, thought. But in order for you to use this, you must have the feeling. The feeling is that season, is that planting. That once I get this, I got to plant it in my spirit. That's going to cause me to feel a certain way about it. I got to feel a certain way about it in order to do something about it. It's just don't thought to do. You don't just go from Chick-fil-A to the drive-thru. There's a process. That Chick-fil-A got to make you feel some kind of way. That old the waffle fry got to make you feel like I want it. I got to have it. Huh? Them lemon pepper got to make you feel like that. I got to already taste them lemon pepper in my mouth. And I'm gonna be there now at American Deli at about 4:30. That's the way the process goes. So in understanding process, then we understand that I can take back control when I take back understanding of the process. That damn, this stuff is coming as a thought. Then it make me feel a certain way. Then I find myself doing it. Well, let me reverse that if I'm sick. If I'm sick and I can't eat no more McDonald's, Burger King, lemon pepper no more. They don't take away the pork, the beef, the chicken. They don't. I can't do nothing. I'm down here. I'm on level 4 or 5 in my condition, or I'm getting to level 4 and 5 in my condition. What can I do? Now I just gotta learn. This baby that told me that thought and feeling create the action. That if I can think that I'm healed, that's the first step. That's what most of y'all are doing. But if I can feel it, if I can feel it, and I know that my endocrine system is working properly, putting in the proper amounts of chemicals and not overindulging or underindulging in the chemicals, putting this system back into a harmonious effect, which is harmony, which is hormones. And then now I'm back in homeostasis. And when I'm back in homeostasis, I'm back here, right here in center, in neutrality. Neutrality, neutral is natural. You shouldn't be acidic or alkaline. You should be neutral. Neutral is natural. It's a contentment. It's a state of being. It's a mind state. I'm not too high when the high tide comes or too low when the low tide comes. I'm not too happy at the top of the mountain. I ain't too sad to be in the valley low. I ain't too happy when I'm full. And I ain't too mad when I'm home. Because there's a contentment there, knowing that nature will fulfill me. And I go on about my business of being neutral. I go on about my business of being natural. I go on about my business of being balanced. And I find myself being in this paradigm for forever. Knowing the rules and the principles of balance, neutrality, and natural laws will keep not only the land homeostatic, but also the man. For the earnest expectation waited for the manifestations of the sons of God. So all the creation is waiting for you to get this information. How to make your duality works as one is your inner power. You must sleep more and rest more to activate this. Right? So I hope you guys get it, man. I hope you guys love it, man. I love you guys, man. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Please, if you are interested in any iota about this bonus manual debauchery, man, and you got a funky measly $50 to spend on it, please, this is the best investment that you can do, man. Go over there to DM me. We'll get you all the information. Thus far, man. We'll be back on tomorrow, same back time, same back channel. Until next time, love HerbMan. Peace. Misty, you just gotta go over there and DM me. Misty, you just gotta DM me or email me. So how do I DM you? Boy, you be on that thing. I don't know how to work it.